Gonna take this plane, I'm gonna throttle it up. I'm watching my tachometer right here. I want to bring it up to 3,800 RPM. I'm doing that with the use of my throttle, which is located right here. Okay. This is called a vernier throttle controller. What it means is the vernier can be operated in two different ways to give you throttle response. So if I want to add power, I can turn it like a volume dial on a stereo. More power, less power. Or if I want to do it really quick, I can squeeze this and push in. Gotcha. Similar to like a snowblower throttle, right?
In is up, out is down.
That's right.
Gotcha.
So the same thing when I'm screwing it in, it's actually, the pipe is getting shorter and going inward. See that?
Oh yeah.
So it's doing the same thing, just at a real micro level. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm making sure that this area is clear. I don't see anybody coming here to land. Looks good, nobody here. We're on the correct radio frequency. I don't hear any other planes.
Midland traffic, SportStar India Juliet Kilo Yankee is taxiing from the apron to 16 for a 16 departure.
All right, so between our legs down here is a flap lever. I'm going to use...
how's Bill doing? Not too bad. How's Eugene doing? Well, gorgeous day to fly. That it is, finally. Well, I don't know. I'm flying every day, so to me, it's great. Yeah, I hear ya.
So this is our flaps here. This is flap 15 degrees. It's going to help us get the wheels off the ground.
I'm sitting on the top of those clouds, which are over Midland, so no conflict with that. Yeah, I'm going to stay below them. No worries.
Sorry, the other pilot's just breaking jars there. Yeah. All right, so this flap lever here is in 15-degree position. It's creating a larger wing, and it's going to help us lift the tires off the ground a little quicker.
Gotcha.
So right now, I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to accelerate to full power, climb us out to about 2,000 feet above sea level, and then give you control of this thing. Cool.
In the traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees on the roll, 16.
I went full power with the use of the ball.
Okay.
I'm steering the plane with my feet at this point. Pulling up on that nose just a little bit to get it light. And she's off the ground.
Really doesn't take much.
Not much at all. A little bit of a wind coming from our right side. At this point, I no longer need those flaps. I'm going to release this lever nice and slowly.
Where were those flaps operating when you were pulling that? On the main wings or back?
On the main wings out here,
yep.
And they're below the wings so you can't see them.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, when we get out, I'll show you where they are. Cool. So right now what I'm doing is I'm really just controlling our ascent. Okay. So the power's at full.
Yep.
The plane, I want to make sure it's flying between 60 and 65 knots. I'm doing that by how hard I pull on this stick. If I pull on the stick hard, it's going to slow down because we're climbing. Gotcha. And I don't want it to slow down too much because that's when it gets dangerous. So I'm going to push forward.
Calling with that, copy.
Between 60
and 65. So right around there is where I want to be.
So your second little notch there is your fives?
Yes. Okay. We got that, and we could look at that for accuracy.
Oh yeah, right? Sure enough.
So we're coming up on 2,000 feet above sea level, which is roughly 1,200 feet over the ground here. I'm going to push the nose forward now. We're about as tall as the restaurant at the CN Tower right now. So what way do we want to go to have a nice smooth flight without being blinded? That way's going to blind us. Guess we can go off in this direction.
How's that Honey Harbor, Port Severn direction?
We can do that. Gonna keep our eyes out for that other guy, Eugene, but he said he's above the clouds over Midland.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, the air is really smooth now. It's a lot smoother than it was 20 minutes ago. It was actually getting quite violent for a bit there. A lot of turbulence. All right, Chris, you want to give this thing a try?
So how does everything work? So this is...
I'm going to teach you that. So put your left hand on the control stick. And I say left hand because if you want to be a pilot, you got to be able to operate your throttle, your key, switches, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm right-handed too. It was very uncomfortable for me at the same time, but usually within the hour, you're going to get a good hang of the left hand.
Cool.
So you got your left hand on the control stick. I'm going to start walking you through a few things.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this plane and I want to turn it to the right. And the way we're going to do that is just a little pull right on the stick like this. That's all it takes.
Wow.
See how the bank angle just gets steeper and steeper and steeper?
Yeah.
If I want to stop it, I bring it back.
That was just directly side to side.
That was just directly side to side.
Gotcha.
We lost a little bit of altitude when that happened because when you're in a turn, you're running out of energy, so it will start to drop.
Gotcha.
So generally what we have to do is a little pull back like this to climb while we're in the turn, but just a little pull.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of myself though yet, so we're going to walk you through a left turn. I just want you to feel how micro movements you have to be on this stick.
Yeah.
So we'll do a nice left turn now. See how it just all of a sudden shot left?
Yeah.
We're turning pretty darn steep right now,
Yeah,
so
for
now
sure.
we'll pull it back. A little bit of turbulence still out. That's what we're feeling, that bouncing around.
Gotcha.
So that's a left and a right turn.
Yeah.
Now to climb an aircraft, we just take the stick and pull towards our belly a little bit like that. You'll see the nose come up. The other thing we get confirmation on is we watch the altimeter climbing.
Yeah.
The needle's starting to go up. The other thing that happens is our airspeed starts getting very slow again.
Right.
So the pilot has two options, either not pull back as hard and not climb, or add power. So if I want to climb like this, I'm going to add a little bit of power. That way you can safely climb.
Gotcha.
If I kept jerking back on that stick, we eventually would stall the aircraft. It wouldn't climb anymore and begin to fall.
Because of the airspeed.
Exactly.
It's not enough to keep it up.
That's right.
Gotcha.
And when flying, airspeed is everything. It's the king. It's what controls flying. So as long as this plane is going above 60 knots, we're going to fly.
Cool.
So now we're at 2,500 feet. I'm going to level this thing off by pushing forward. That's it. I'm going to pull back on the throttle because I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Go back to a nice calm cruise throttle RPM in this aircraft is anywhere from 4,600 RPM up to 5,000, depending on how smooth the air is.
4,600 to 5,000.
Yeah, 4,600. If the air is really rough and a lot of turbulence, I'll bring it down to 4,600 like this.
Okay.
If it's really glass smooth, like late in the evening or early morning where you don't feel any turbulence, I'll bring her right up to 5,000 and let this plane really cruise at a fast speed like that, right? So that being the case,
Collingwood area traffic.
I walked you through a few of those motions there.
Overhead field at 1800.
Feel free to take the plane and steer and do whatever you'd like with it. I'm going to keep my hands nearby.
Collingwood traffic.
You just want to get used to the feeling of what it does for you when you move that stick.
I'm basically in control right now?
You are in control. You have control. The only thing I'm controlling right now is the throttle. And I have my feet on the pedals in case I have to adjust that tail, but so far I'm not doing anything on those pedals.
So this guy here is our levelness?
It is, but I wish this plane didn't even have that, because generally we don't use this for flight training.
Yeah.
The horizon and everything, that's everything. Outside is really where your eyes should be.
Gotcha.
In here are just references.
Okay.
So you just peek once in a while.
Amazing how light it is on the controls.
Yeah.
Like you're just twitch a little bit, you can feel movement.
That's right.
It's amazing. So turbulence, you don't really have to fight it at all. You just kind of let it do its thing. And
exactly. Well, turbulence, is going to do what it generally is doing is lifting you.
Okay.
It's a hot bubble of air that's coming up underneath the belly of the plane and forcing it up.
Okay.
So we do fight it if we want to hold a certain altitude.
Gotcha.
We generally would have to push down on the nose as it's doing that to us.
Right.
Now, it's usually not so important to be at a certain altitude unless you're in controlled airspace where they want you at a certain altitude.
Okay.
Where we are here is uncontrolled airspace. We can be at whatever altitude we want to be at. The only reason why we do that, where we practice exercises of certain altitudes, is just to become a more proficient pilot. Okay. It's always nice to aim for perfection, and then the other stuff is easy, right?
Exactly.
So whenever you get stuck in a place where you have to hold a certain altitude, it's going to be simple for you if you always fly that way, right?
Because you know how to do it.
That's right.
Yeah. And do you find more turbulence or anything like that over land compared to over water?
Leaving altitude.
The turbulence is generally overland.
Right.
That's because the sun's energy has nowhere to go when it hits the earth.
So the heat comes up from the land.
That's right. That ground, the harder the ground is, the more it will create turbulence.
Gotcha.
So that nasty sun and the clearer the sky is. So I kind of picture, I look at the atmosphere as our skin, with or without sunblock.
Okay.
A cloudy day is putting a level 50 on, man. That sun's not getting through.
Yeah.
If you're flying on a level 50 day, there's no turbulence. That sun cannot penetrate through because the clouds are blocking it.
Yeah.
When we have a blue sky like this, that sun is hitting the earth, and especially at noon, it's hitting the hard ground, creating a real hot pocket of air, and it'll super rise fast. Like it'll come up real quick. So just so you know where we are, that's Beausoleil there.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the water, that sun hits the water and is absorbed and raises the temperature of the water.
Gotcha.
Very little escapes and bounces up because the water's generally quite cold.
Gotcha.
So it makes total sense when it's explained that way.
Oh, totally.
I wish I would have known that when I first started flight training. My flight instructor in the day scared the heck out of me about flying over water. I guess because when I started flying, a lot of these planes were very unreliable engines.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe quite often you had to do emergency landings. You don't want to land in the water.
Yeah.
But you gotta decide. It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Do you fly over land and become in a washing machine where you're flying all over the sky because of turbulence, or do you cut over top of the water a little bit and get smooth flying? You know, I like the smooth
one of those
flying.
things.
Yeah.
The X-ray leader is backtracking on 3-1 for immediate takeoff.
You're doing good with this thing.
Yeah, it feels nice.
Just gonna shoot a quick text to my next client.
Worries.
Approaching altitude.
Definitely a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Leaving altitude. Approaching altitude.
All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So of course, when I'm flying in an area like this, I'm going to be heightened awareness because there is nowhere to land if our engine failed.
Gotcha.
But that's when I double check and watch my instruments a lot.
Yeah,
I'm still always looking for a best place to land.
Yeah. In a situation like this, what would go through your mind of emergency procedure?
Well,
Leaving altitude.
it depends on how you're asking the question. What do you mean? Like,
so
what is the procedure?
what would you do in an instinct like this if, say, a major malfunction?
Departure.
We're here to look for a safety area, say engine failure.
Well, if our engine failed, our very first responsibility is to fly this plane at its best glide speed, which is 58 knots.
Gotcha.
So first thing would be to achieve our glide speed of 58 knots.
58.
Yeah. So once we establish 58, the second thing we want to do is look for a place to land.
Gotcha.
Look for it, aim for it, start committing to it. Third thing would be start troubleshooting. Find out what the problem is. See if you can rectify it before you have to land there.
Right.
A lot of times it'll be something simple, like you ran out of fuel in one tank, switch it to the other and start the engine again.
Gotcha.
Simple things like that, right? Could be the cause.
Yep.
Something more severe, you're going straight for that landing spot that you picked. You're declaring a mayday on the radio and hope we picked a damn good spot to land. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to land far out in the bay here because it might take a long time for rescue.
Yep.
I would probably be shooting for something a little closer to land where civilization is.
Gotcha.
So if you see a cabin or something, maybe I would do a landing right in the water in front of those cottages there.
Yeah.
Because at least we can say, swim up to shore and say, hey,
Leaving
we're here.
altitude.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that there's really no roads right here at all, huh?
No, nothing.
Approaching altitude.
Look at this guy. You got good control of this thing.
Leaving
And you've never
altitude.
taken control of a plane before, huh?
Never.
Good for you. Yeah, the good thing about this time of year, too, there's a lot of boats still out, so there's generally rescue close by.
Gotcha.
Mind you, I don't want to ditch in the water.
Approaching
No,
altitude.
I would guess that's probably not a good thing. Little lightweight plane like this.
No, sure better than ditching on the trees, though.
Leaving
Like, this is all
altitude.
solid granite here, right? So
Yep.
landing on one of these islands is probably not a smart, wise decision.
No, just shred it to pieces.
Yeah. At least the water, we're going to walk away from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to destroy the plane.
Yeah.
Now, with this aircraft, right before we touch down, I would open the canopy.
Yeah.
Open the lock.
Just
Open
so
it up.
it's loose.
Yeah, open
Gotcha.
it about an inch so it can't jam closed when it lands.
Yeah.
In the event if it did, the back window of this aircraft is designed to just kick out and it pops right out in one
Approaching
shot.
altitude.
Interesting.
Leaving altitude.
So the only reason why it's talking to you is because I put that little bug there
Okay.
at 2,500 feet, and anytime you veer off it by 100 feet, she'll
Yeah.
talk to you.
Oh, okay.
So I could reset that, put it at 2,400 so it doesn't keep talking to you. Yeah, like Chrissy was really good too the first time she tried this, right?
Yeah, well, that's been her dream for a long time. Always wanted to do it, so
Yeah, that's cool.
kind of non-stop talking about it. Just
Yeah.
complete enjoyment. It's probably been nice to me for listening to her.
Yeah.
Give me a few hints.
Yeah, I tried to get my wife into it.
Yeah.
She likes coming in the plane.
Yeah.
She has no interest in controlling it,
Gotcha.
but she loves flying.
Yeah. That's it. Being a gearhead like myself, it's just the mechanicals and everything of it is just
Oh, yeah.
amazing to me.
Yeah. So at least here, we have more safety. We got the 400, right?
Yeah. Perfect spot.
So yeah, and we know that there's a huge median in the center.
Yep.
I would probably myself aim for the same lane as the, jeez, that was a butterfly. That was a heart attack on a bun there. Do you see that thing?
I missed it. I was looking over here.
Holy, it was coming right at my face. I was like, oh shit, don't tell me that's a bird.
Where do you see most birds altitude-wise?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
There's no off limits for those guys. I used to think, I'll go up to 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
Oh no, they'll hang out up there. I see another plane flying. It must be a seaplane taking off. Oh, it's really hard to see. One of the lakes over there, and I can see him skimming up over top of the trees.
Oh, yeah.
It's red and white, I think. So that's the first. I've never seen a butterfly at 1,500 feet over the ground. It must have got caught in one of those thermals and just lifted up.
Took him right up.
Yeah.
Probably take him a while to get back down now.
Yeah. There's another aircraft right off to the south there. He's white.
In the air right now?
In the air, right in that direction. Now he's disappeared because he's turning. It's hard to see him. But I got eyes on him.
Gotcha. Is he pretty low?
He's about the same altitude as us, but
Okay.
he may have done a turn towards Barrie. He might have done that. And that just comes with time and experience of scanning the sky.
Yeah.
I remember when I first learned how to fly, I was paranoid of other aircraft. Because I could never see them, and I could never understand why the instructor saw them, but I did.
Yeah.
And so now he's directly in front of us, but he's going that way.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You
I
got
can
him?
see him there now.
The traffic off November Quebec is currently 10 due west of the field, inbound 10.
Because at some comes a time when you're just constantly scanning the sky, because I guess that's the worst thing out here against birds.
Yep. And aliens.
Aliens, yeah. Never trust them.
No.
That's
So he's now
an interesting
going north.
feeling.
What's that?
Just as the plane's kind of walking around like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the key to that is just don't overreact. Just deal with it, right? You
play with it a little bit to
That's right.
make everything feel straight.
That's right. If you feel it lifting your left wing, push it back down.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
Interesting, because it's almost a mix of driving a lot of things.
It is.
Again, but also being completely different.
Yep. Yeah, it's so cool, especially like if you guys are planning on buying something like a plane.
Yeah.
A whole new world will open up to you. It sounds corny to say, but like dinner in Montreal becomes something you'll actually do on a weekend.
I know, how crazy
Like,
of a
it just-
thought is that?
And you'd never think about that before, right? But
No.
it's cheap. Like if you got something like this, it doesn't cost you much in fuel to get there. It just takes some experience and confidence to do it.
Yeah.
Once you feel confident and experienced enough to do it,
Yeah.
the world's your oyster, man.
Oh.
You just go anywhere.
Go anywhere.
Like, look how quick we got to here. We've been only in the air for 21 minutes.
Holy
we went,
jeez,
we went
really,
all the
eh?
way up to Beausoleil, back up Honey Harbor. Like,
Wow. That is amazing.
like we're moving, man. Like, 81 knots is no joke.
No, you're cruising. And the nice thing is everything's a straight line.
Yeah.
You want to go somewhere, you just point and shoot.
Yep. No long weekend traffic. No jerk-offs on the road. Nothing, right?
Exactly. How much fuel would you say it would take you to drive to like Montreal, say?
It's been a while
If you
since
could
I
guess.
did it. This plane burns about 3.5 US gallons an hour,
Right?
and we get 32 gallons of usable fuel.
How much an hour did you say?
3.5 gallons.
3.5 gallons an hour.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Honestly, I'd have to pull out my calculator to give you an accurate.
Yeah.
I forget what it was last time I did it, but I would do stuff like that, right? It's just, you got a pilot license, you got a plane, do it.
Exactly. You got a plane, especially if yourself and your spouse are both
Oh, yeah.
able to fly.
Oh, that just
Like,
makes
how
it
great.
safer beyond, right? So it's not just one person that knows what's going on, too.
Exactly.
You take over, take turns.
Yeah. Want to do long adventures, you can kind of stay in the air if you wanted to.
And everybody will have their areas of strengths and weaknesses in flying.
Yeah.
You know, some people are great pilots and are terrible on the radio. And vice versa, right? It'll be the other way around.
Yeah.
Some pilots are terrified of going into controlled airspace because they just don't like to have to communicate with a tower.
Communicating, yeah.
Follow directions and stuff like that.
Sit back and enjoy.
Yep. So that's great if the two of you guys can bounce off each other. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, it'd be incredible. Really, until Chrissy and I even started dating. I was terrified of flying.
Really, huh?
And once we got on our first trip, it was like, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And she took me up in Cessna for my birthday, which was like, okay, now I see. Now look at me.
There you go. You're flying a plane, you're doing damn good. You're holding altitude.
How crazy.
Everything. And the cool thing, like even about this type of, well, anything with the Rotax 912 in it,
yeah,
there's such a dependable engine.
Gotcha.
You'll notice that I got this throttle set, I'm not even touching it.
No.
It's just kind of doing its thing. Everything's nice, water temp's nice, cylinder head temps are nice, everything's beautiful.
Yeah. Now can you set these where you want them to be so where your eye can kind of follow it, you know where you're looking right away? Something that feels more comfortable to you, or is it kind of set?
You can move them around any way you want with this computer system, yeah. Yeah, anywhere within the engine parameter area here, right? Like you can move the tack down to here, you can float it around any way you like.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening. We're passing just a mile or so west of your airport, northbound. We'll be stopping back in probably in a little less than an hour, get some fuel. Okay, check that. Yeah, we'll be probably just a little better than an hour, maybe an hour 15 or hour 20.
Are we like cold water?
Yes, sir.
Area, yeah.
So even you and her are both good with directions too. That's awesome.
Okay, so this will be the river going back into cold water.
The traffic off November
Gotcha.
Quebec is currently 3 miles to the north.
Hydro line obviously right in front of us.
That's it.
Downwind to 8.
So the cool thing about ultralight is we only have to learn how to navigate. Well, we learn basics of navigation in ground school, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, since we are VFR pilots, that's visual flight rules.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We're supposed to be able to fly by using the term dead reckoning. So fly to places or obstacles or objects that are recognizable by air to know where you're at. It's a little bit different than an IFR pilot, which is instrument flight rules. Those guys go through clouds. They don't need to see anything, and they fly based on this stuff.
Gotcha.
Which is extremely complex and a hard license to get.
Yep.
And I'd say a very small percentages of pilots ever get that license.
Gotcha.
So the fact that you were able to point out knowing where these hydro lines are and knowing that that is cold water, I bet you can tell me a rough area where Toronto is. What would you think?
From here, where are we? We're headed dead south. That way-ish?
Bingo.
Yeah.
So if we traveled in this direction for about 25 minutes, we'd see the Toronto skyline.
Interesting.
And that being the case, that keeps you extra safe. A person who could pick up on that stuff.
Yeah.
Like you picked it, no problem. You said we're flying dead south, it's this way.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people that don't know that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's foreign. I've always understood that stuff, but a lot of people don't understand that stuff.
Gotcha.
Never really looked at a map before.
And know where things are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like if all hell broke loose and a big storm came in and we were told there's no storm in Toronto, you can land here. We know fly this way for about 40 minutes and we're landing in Toronto.
40 minutes.
If that, right?
Really,
Yeah. Because like already we're at Mount St. Louis Moonstone.
Yeah, I can see that coming up on the horizon there. Which took near no time.
Exactly. So of course, this is kind of smooth air right now.
Yeah.
Some days gets quite challenging. Like the work you're doing on the stick is you're really working.
Yeah.
Right now you're being spoiled. Nice.
I'll take it for today.
Oh yeah.
So on a crazy day, how What kind of a circle would you be kind of fighting that in a plane of this size?
Not so much the size of the plane, it's just the type of turbulence you're dealing with.
Gotcha.
You could be doing full stick deflections on this thing.
Wow.
From every which way. Now, those type of days, I usually try to call it.
Yeah,
I'll cancel my flights because it's not fun.
No.
Even for myself.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's dangerous. It's just, like, what's the point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Part of becoming a pilot is to be a responsible pilot and know where the limit is.
Yeah.
Like, a pilot doesn't mean you can fly in 100 knots of wind, right?
Yeah.
So.
If need be.
Yeah.
So in a situation like Mount St. Louis, would you feel turbulence or anything because of the higher altitude there?
A little bit.
Yeah.
The closer the ground is to us, the more turbulence we'll get.
Yeah.
So that's why a pilot has in their toolkit a couple of things to do. If it's really turbulent at this altitude, we just keep going up.
Smoother, higher.
Yeah. The higher you go, the smoother the air is going to get. But catch 22 again too. The higher you go, the stronger the winds are. So as long as the winds are a stable direction, and it's favoring the direction you want to fly to, you go and choose those upper level winds, and you're not going to get beat up, but you might burn more fuel if you're flying into the wind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's little things like that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, I'd rather pay for more fuel than to sit there and get beat the hell out of with turbulence.
I believe it.
Because some days it just gets so violent.
Yeah.
That you say, why am I even doing this, right? Because you're coming out of the seat.
Yeah.
And it's just not comfortable, right?
No. It almost becomes a job.
It is a job, right? Like, you're trying to aim for a certain spot, and the plane, no joke, is going like this.
Oh, Jesus.
Along the shoreline.
And you can never look to where you want to go, because it's never going to go there. It's just going to go wherever it wants, and you just got to tame it. I liken it to trying to ride a bull.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's going to kick the hell out of you, man. And it takes a lot of mental energy on the pilot's part and physical.
Yeah, I can totally see that, especially the mental part of it.
Yep.
Just constantly, your brain never stops because you're constantly fixing yourself.
Yeah,
you're troubleshooting the whole time.
Compensate.
Too much.
That's Horseshoe Valley right over there.
Okay.
Wow, another, I don't know what that was. Another little thing came right over us. I don't know what's going on with today. The other day I was flying, and no word of a lie, was a plastic grocery bag.
Oh my God.
And it was just coming right at me. I was like, what the hell is this thing doing at 2,000 feet?
Oh man.
And you don't want to hit that because it'll wrap up in the propeller, right?
You slow down the airspeed around the prop.
Shit, yeah.
Oh.
Off balance, you're going to have to shut the engine off to save the engine.
Jeez.
Or hope that the propeller chews it like a lawnmower, right?
Yeah. Cuts it in half and just continues on.
Yep.
So compared to Midland, is Edenville your next closest airport?
That is, Edenville's my home base.
Yep.
That's where my hangar and business is.
Yeah.
But for other airstrips in the area, there's quite a few actually. There's Collingwood, just a little bit west of Edenville. Right over here, off to our left, is Lake Simcoe Regional Airport, which is a very large airport.
Okay.
It's a little bit past Horseshoe Valley. I'm surprised we can't see it yet. Barrie even has an airport, a real small one.
Right. Distance-wise, what would you say is your closest to Midland?
Charlie Fox.
Meaning distance what from closest from where?
Closest to Midland. Like if you ever had, you know, if you're flying in this direct area,
Okay.
your quickest to get to.
For diversion, would have to be Edenville.
Edenville?
Yeah, it would have to be the closest. But there's airports and then there's aerodromes. Aerodromes or landing strips. Yeah.
Right.
They're all over the place.
Okay.
So, like even right up here near Orr Lake, there's a nice private field there.
Okay.
There's a lot of landing strips. Somewhere up here there's another one. It might be down right underneath us now.
So those are privately owned?
Privately owned strips, yeah, but you can use them if you had to land for an emergency, right?
Gotcha.
And that's the one cool thing about, you know, Ontario. North American flying kicks ass because there's airports everywhere.
Gotcha.
Like when I did a flight to Florida, my first time, I was nervous, right? I was like, oh man, I got to fly over the Appalachians. What's going to happen if I have an engine failure? The next airport's 120 miles.
Yeah.
And when I was flying over the Appalachians, you'd be surprised there's landing strips on the side of mountains.
Wow.
I was like, this is amazing. There's like safety everywhere.
Yeah, it's great.
But they're not on the charts, right? Because they're just there and you see all these little runways.
Cool.
So we're almost at Edenvale. Edenvale's just off this way. The sun's kind of blinded me, but
yeah.
There's Barrie right there. You're okay with the height still and everything?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
A little different when you're just riding passenger, I find, compared to when you're in control, because your brain's running.
That's right.
And it's almost like you don't even think about what's actually happening.
Yeah.
You feel it, but you don't really notice it. Oh, that's a big chunk of asphalt. Or is that
solar
field
panels.
covering? Oh, solar panels.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's quite a few people, I don't know if it's a company that's done that up in the area.
Yeah.
But from here to Aurelia, there's a few of the huge solar farms.
Wow.
Ask me, I think they're wasting their damn money. This is Canada, man. Like, we're far north for that thing to be effective.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you're holding your altitude like a rock star, man. Like, awesome.
Cool.
I haven't been on the controls at all since you took over, so that's pretty amazing.
Peterborough traffic, Foxtrot Sierra Charlie Lima, turning downwind 09, stop and go.
Big metropolis of Barrie.
Yeah. Don't realize how big Simcoe is until you're in the air.
Yeah, it's a big lake.
Yeah.
And manifest skydive, India. just checking to make sure that we're doing another load and that'll be a hot load.
So in Barrie here,
traffic, this is,
just to the, see the line of trees where it looks like subdivision starts?
Right.
Right there is the Barrie Airport. It's a little tiny airport with 2,500 foot runway.
Wow.
And it's right off in that direction there, just to kind of give you an idea how many airports there are that you can land at.
Gotcha.
You were cut off a second time. Try it again.
And where's Angus from here?
Angus, directly in front of us, I believe.
Oh, it's right in front of us.
Yeah, it should,
Okay, well, I still have to land yet, and so I'll give you a couple more minutes, have another look at it. Doesn't look that bad, but you'll have to check with one of the jumpers to see how they function.
I don't know if we'll be able to make it there within an hour.
Yeah. Is that as a restricted zone? Like, is it a no-fly zone for people just cruising around?
No, the boarding is. You can't cross over board.
Yeah.
You can get to Angus, but that's about it. You got to know how and when to turn around, right?
Gotcha.
Old Town traffic, Charlie Tango Juliet is over the town of Petey. And Charlie Tango Juliet, we're at 3,500 feet for Old Town traffic.
Peterborough
Traffic 36, Old Town, touch and go. Old Town area traffic. Charlie Golf Tango Tango Victor is 8 miles to the west of the town of Owen Sound, descending to...
We've seen all the ski resorts now. Now we're over top of Snow Valley.
For the RNAV 05.
Doing a tour.
Yeah.
Hey Tyler, how are you tonight? I'm doing just fine, having a blast. Good stuff. Talk to you later. Later, dude.
You can't get tired of just looking around.
No.
There's so much to look at.
Yep.
Peterborough traffic, Foster Charlie Lima, turning final 09, stop and go.
So we should start doing a turn back in that direction to Midland.
Okay.
So you got an idea which way to go, right?
Yep.
I think so, I think you do. Right below us here is George Johnson Road.
Okay, yep.
So that means that that's Minising, that little town right there.
Okay.
Traffic, Tango Papa Hotel, 8 miles.
Kind of nice with that little blanket of cloud over
Oh,
top.
it's perfect. Came at just the right time.
So the difference between this plane and the Bush Cat that she's looking at. Bush Cat looks like loads of fun. Like crazy, crazy fun.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not going to be as smooth as
Golf
this.
X-ray Bravo
That's
is
the weight
backtracking
difference?
to position on 3-1.
Not so much the weight, it's the design.
Okay.
It's designed to be a very rugged aircraft, which is great. It's designed so you can take that darn thing and just plop it right down in this field here.
Yeah.
However, it's going to be more hands-on. This is more streamlined. So it's kind of doing some of the flying for you.
Yeah.
From what I remember with that aircraft is it's very rudder dominant. In this plane, we haven't both used the rudder at all.
Gotcha.
That plane, you cannot fly it without constantly using the rudder.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's fine. You're going to learn how to do that, even flying this plane, because when we land and take off, we use the rudder all the time.
Okay.
Don't tell me this thing does not... You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding. The back one's going. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, good. Have to do it again.
There you go. It was on camera function, not video camera. I don't even know why they put that camera function on the GoPro. I don't know anybody who's ever used it.
Yeah, no doubt. You're just going to be more hands-on in a plane like that.
Yep.
Constantly working.
Working more.
Gotcha.
Don't get me wrong. I love that. Like that's flying. I love it.
No.
I find most pilots do love it. But
Edenville traffic says no Golf X-ray Bravo is rolling runway 31.
It's all personality, right? Like, it depends. Some people just want to fly and shut their brain off and meditate and fly. That's not the type of plane you want to buy.
Gotcha.
It's not saying that it's a harder plane to fly, it's just more demanding.
More work, more involved.
Yeah, more involved.
Yeah.
And it's going to be louder in the cockpit, where this is pretty darn silent in here because of its streamliningness, right?
Okay.
So right now you're headed right towards Wasaga Beach.
Okay.
Edenville Airport's right there. You see that cross runways there?
Yeah. What's that from Edenville to Midland? 15 minutes?
How many miles? Yeah, about that. About 15 minutes.
Yeah. Now, does age of plane make them fly differently? Or is it more the design of the plane?
The design.
Okay.
Design's the biggest factor. Yeah, I would never talk you guys out of looking at a bush cat. I think it's really cool, and the funny thing is,
traffic, Papa Delta Whiskey,
that guy
north, descending
contacted me today.
Inbound for landing.
Chris.
We'll be joining overhead for mid-left.
I have to call him on my way home because he's desperate about getting me to fly his plane.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
You know, I love that kind of flying.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if I was going to buy another plane for my school, it would be something like that I could put floats on it.
Gotcha.
Because I want to train people how to fly into lakes.
Yep.
Plus, I want to go up north, land in a lake, go fishing, stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
You can't do that with a SportStar.
Yeah.
This is like, I don't know, I liken this in the LSA world, light sport aircraft world.
Gotcha.
I'd liken this to like a Ferrari or a Porsche.
Yeah.
It likes nice paved roads, nice paved runways. You could land it on grass, but you're beating it up.
Gotcha.
That plane doesn't matter. It's a Jeep. It's a Hummer.
It likes the off-road.
Yeah, man.
Fine
Off-road it, pavement, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do to it. Like, it likes it.
I think you're saying with the lower wings is normally not a good plane for
Exactly.
floats and that to be on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And depending on what design, like I think he's advertising tricycle gear aircraft.
Yep.
But I think they have a tailwheel version also, or a conversion kit.
Yeah.
And like I was describing to you guys that day, that's a whole other monster, right?
Yeah.
The flying is very similar. Yeah, it's similar. It's the landing and takeoff. Totally different.
Which again sound like it was a little more involved again.
Oh, yes, sir.
When you're running down the runway.
Oh, it's fun.
Edenville traffic says no Golf X-ray Bravo is downwind left for 31 touch and go.
Look at that. You're on a perfect track towards the airport. Gonna switch fuel tank supplies here. I'll tell you right now, you got what it takes to do this because you're flying it, right?
Yeah.
Now for work, did you say you are a mechanic?
I was a mechanic for 8 years and then moved up to the parts counter.
Okay.
Got out of the shop. I still do it for fun.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm in the middle of restoring a 64 Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, cool.
So I keep my brain to it. I keep up on my schooling.
Yeah.
Always any training wherever I'm working, I always take it. Just can't have too much training.
Yeah.
That's for sure, especially when it's free to you.
Oh, yeah.
Absorb it up.
So if you guys got a plane, man, you're going to wrench it yourself.
Well, exactly.
It's going to be simple for you because, to be honest with you, some of the people I see wrenching these, it's not that they're bad, but they might be pencil pushers.
Yeah.
A lot of times, a lot of lawyers, whatever, they never turned a wrench, but they're even able to follow the schedule because it's so damn simple, right?
Yeah.
You just got to buy a couple of good torque wrenches, like good quality, not Princess Auto ones.
Yeah.
and have a good metric set.
Yep.
You know, because the engine's built in Austria, so everything's metric on it.
Yep.
Oil changes, everything's very simple, man. Have some
Nice.
Loctite, know how to use lock wire, stuff like that. You're laughing, man.
Yeah, so.
It's step by step, like putting together a model.
Yeah.
Put tab A to tab B, tighten down 16 foot-pounds.
Yeah.
Add blue Loctite, like, no problem.
IKEA.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess when you're building one, it just comes down to the time.
Here's Charlie Foxtrot.
Do you have the time to do it, or is it worth just paying somebody and having it done?
I personally, I love that stuff to build them, but
I'm the same.
you need the space.
Yes.
If you have a space, a nice heated indoor space, especially for winter, man.
Yep.
Oh, you could knock one of these things. Like you could knock off an LSA easy in the winter.
Oh, wow.
Especially being a mechanical person, right?
Yeah.
Like quite often I'll hear some of these, a lot of retired guys, 75. It took me 7 years to build my 601. That's 500 hours.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Calling with traffic, Charlie.
Probably could have done that in about a month and a half.
Realistically, yeah.
But it depends on, you know, where you are, right, mechanically.
Oh, exactly.
A lot of rivets,
Yep.
a lot of drilling. But it's like a big, I don't know. For me, it's simple because I grew up putting together models and stuff. Like it's all the same thing, just now it's life size.
Yeah, exactly.
Inflicting traffic, Charlie Foxtrot, Sierra Kilo Papa.
I know I'd be quite interested in putting one together just to see how everything works.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing too, when you, especially if you ever run into an emergency and you got to troubleshoot quick. When you know what rod goes where, what cable goes where,
Yep.
what actuates what.
Oh yeah.
Very easy to figure it out, or easier
That's right.
to figure it out.
So there's the airport we came from. Sort of right off in that direction. See that
Yep.
kind of clearing in the forest?
Yep.
That's it there.
Oh wow.
We did a huge loop.
Pretty well.
Kind of went that way and then this way and all the way around.
All the ski hills. Looking at which one I'm going to buy my pass for this year.
There you go. So what we have to do is we have to, probably heard this term before, enter into the circuit to land.
Right.
We can't just go and land there. Pull out a little diagram for you. Give you an idea of what we're about to do. All right. So I'm holding it in the direction of that runway. The runway is the purple guy here. So this is what the traffic pattern looks like. We can either come out here, enter into the circuit this way,
Okay.
or we can go off to the left side of it and then come across the field and enter this way. Right now we're kind of on target to enter it from the south.
Okay.
So what we're going to have to do is descend down to circuit height, which is 1,800 feet above sea level.
Okay.
So I'm going to move that little indicator there. I'll let you begin to start descending. I'm going to throttle back a little bit. I'm going to make a radio announcement here.
Midland traffic, SportStar, India, Juliet, Kilo Yankees, 3 miles south of the field, descending through 2,500 to circuit height 2, join us straight in downwind 16.
So back to that diagram there. This is what we're doing. So we're going to be in this thing here. Once we hit our 1,800 feet, we're going to level off. We want to be roughly 3/4 of a mile away from that runway,
Approaching altitude.
which will put us at the road that's out here. I don't know if you see it.
Straight in front.
Yeah, that road over there.
Yep.
So right now you're at 1,800. I'm going to add cruise power again. There you go. It's cruising away. Just keep coming out towards that road. and we're going to be parallel to that runway.
Now, is it always on the east side you enter airports, or is it just this one, or?
No, it depends on what runway direction you're going at. So
Okay.
we always do left-hand turns unless the airport has a specific published procedure of doing this right-hand.
Okay,
But it's always left unless published.
gotcha.
If we were landing on runway 34, which is this way, we would have to be coming in doing this on the other side.
Gotcha.
So we'd do this diagram this way,
Okay.
and we'd have to cross over and join into the downwind. So now we're officially in the downwind. So we're going to fly along this road at 1,800 feet. I'm going to make a radio announcement here.
Traffic in the Collingwood area. This is Uniform Bravo Bravo. Just taxiing down here toward the end. Just be advised, some deer off to the right side of the runway.
Okay.
I'm not going to bother announcing. These guys are talking. So the purpose of the downwind right now is for us to inspect the runway. We're looking if there's any obstructions on it, any people, animals, vehicles. Looks clear to me. We'll also get a chance to confirm that the windsock is blowing in the direction we want it to be. Right now it's kind of limp. It's just hanging.
Yeah.
So there's really no wind at all.
I'm gonna say I can't really tell if it's pointing in any real direction.
Exactly.
Maybe.
A little bit maybe that way, but it's so light. Another thing we're going to do here is we inspect all of our engine instruments. Make sure everything's green. It is, except for my front water temp, but that's relatively safe. It's 2 degrees colder than it should be. I'm going to check to make sure we have brake pressure. We do. Emergency brake is off. Our seat belts are still secure. So we're going to keep flying in this direction until that runway is about 45 degrees off our left shoulder.
Okay.
It's going to get quite busy here. I'm going to try to get you on the controls for this, but
Okay.
I may have to ghost you or help you a little bit on this. Not quite. We're about 25 degrees. 30. 35. So usually this road.
Gotcha.
So we're going to do a left turn here. We call this turning left base.
Uniform Delta Kilo in position. Just waiting for a little more spacing between Uniform Bravo Bravo.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left base, 16.
So right here we're going to slow the plane down. I'm going to throttle back. We're going to pull back on the stick a little bit to slow it down. We want to get the needle in the white area. Right about there. Nose forward a bit. No, down, down, down. All right, so I'm going to pull the flap lever. Flap number 1. Flap number 2. So we're going to do a left turn now. Okay, 1 second. I have control. I have control. Got us going a little slow there.
Gotcha.
So if you hear me say I have control, just let go. But now I'm going to hand it back over to you again. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so our speed is controlled with the stick.
Okay.
So right now I'm deliberately turning the plane into a slip to get us down because we're really high.
Okay.
Pull back a little bit. We want to be going 65. So you control the speed by that stick.
Turning downwind, runway 31.
There you go. So we're going to have to turn it more to the right because we're drifting. So we're going to have to go like that. That's it. A little bit more to the right. That's it. Bring that nose down. So we're going to keep doing this until here. Okay, so ease up on that stick. We're going to come like this. I'm going to start on my left foot, straightening that nose out. I'm looking all the way at the end of the runway. There we go. I'm just pulling up on the nose for you, like this. We want to balance the nose up. There you go. We're doing a wheelie on purpose, a catwalk, right?
The nose wheel isn't on the ground right now?
That's right. I don't want it on the ground because it will oversteer. When I drop it, watch what happens. See how it gets so touchy and starts going all over the place? Now I'm going to have to hit the brakes. That was awesome, man. We landed a plane.
Cool.
First time. I'm just going to put that down. I'm getting on my left foot here.
Yeah, right, because this isn't doing anything right now.
That's right.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees on the back track, 16.
I think it's pretty busy.
It does get busy. Yeah, like I don't expect anybody to figure this out until about 6 hours.
I can see that.
For me to throw that at you the first time, it's kind of a little crazy, but some people just love to do it, to try it. But don't ever expect to be doing that for at least 6 hours of flight training, right?
I can see
because
that.
there's a lot of physics we need to get ingrained into your head.
Yep.
Like airspeed is #1, right?
Yeah. Yeah, coming down when I was close to the ground there, it felt like I wanted to go this way, so
That's
you
right.
felt it go right, and you're like, oh, you can feel it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that have to be trained out of your unconscious brain, right? Because you have an idea of how it should fly, and then the way you should do it is totally opposite.
Yep.
So, but that's why we train, right? That's why
Exactly.
not everybody can just get into these things and fly them.
No. We're all new at one point.
Yep. And tail wheel, very different, man.
Oh, I could imagine. Because you got to keep all the way to that plane on those front wheels till basically
Yeah.
the end, right?
Close to, and then you got to have the right timing to jam that tail into the ground.